Do you like the stars? Do you have a penchant for sea creatures and dice rolling? Do you know what this is? Do you have an affinity for extremely poor life decisions and are gaslighting yourself that your errors in judgment are merely the results of reasonable risk-taking and know you're not leading these cute animal critters into join the bottom left on purpose because you're definitely not that kind of person? Introducing Astrea Six-Sided Oracles, a dice builder roguelike developed by Little Leo Games and published by Akupara Games. Following the footsteps of deck-building roguelike pioneer Slay the Spire, Astrea does introduce a massive change that separates it from the many Slay the Spire clones out there. That is, it uses dice instead of cards. Astrea is the mother star, and around this star, 6 worlds orbited. From each of these 6 worlds, Astrea chose a champion. And upon those champions, she bestowed a gift known as an Astrarium, which has secret star powers. But one day, Astrea began dying, as stars do. And the people decided to reenact the Tower of Babel in an effort to reach the star and somehow fix it. Right before the star was a layer of pure yabai energy that stopped the tower's completion. Astrea's heart fell into this red yabai energy, making it go and cover the entire star system. Luckily, there are still some people who can use blue star energy to convert the reds in some weird game of Othello. Leading the charge in this mission are the 6 champions, who can harness the power of the stars to literally gamble on the fate of the world. Visually, Astrea is a competent mix of whimsical, ethereal, and adorable. The animal people you play as are clad in flowy wizard robes, depicting their status as star wizards. The enemies manage to look like they came from the basement of Miskatonic, despite being arguably cute 2D sprites. The 2D animation of the characters work well with the backdrop, while still keeping to the general design aesthetic of blue versus red. And there's enough movement in every scene to prevent everything from looking flat. The soundtrack is reminiscent of orchestral and classical music, which, while nothing groundbreaking, makes it easy to sink into the game without getting distracted. Gameplay. While Astrea does have the node system of its predecessors, the use of dice instead of cards gives the game a very different feel. Simply put, everything in Astrea revolves around risk and reward, a distinct parallel to the theme of purity and corruption. Dice range from safe dice, which have weak positive effects, but no danger sides, to risky dice, which generally have 2 very powerful positive sides, but with the rest of the sides being self-detrimental. Power-ups are also split into 2 categories: constellations, which provide minor buffs, and the riskier black holes, which provide very powerful benefits alongside a similarly powerful drawback. Even the health system is a juggling game. You will only ever have a maximum of 7 health points, and you have to balance using your dice results to heal yourself or damage your enemies. Each character also has virtues, which are powerful skills that get unlocked when your health reaches a certain threshold. Getting there is risky, but careful management of dice rolls and health points can allow you to do things like damage yourself, use the virtue that the damage unlocked, heal yourself over the threshold, and get to use the virtue again when the enemy inevitably tentacles you in the face. Dropping to 0 health doesn't immediately end the game. Most characters start with 3 lives, But even these lives are part of the entire gambit. You can trade these lives in for constellations, dice, or other powerful benefits in certain nodes. Each run is a tightrope walk. Every time the dice are thrown haphazardly on the screen, an exciting moment, and every boss fight a question of whether your resources have been managed properly. The 6 unlockable characters each have their own feel and distinct playstyle. What works for one will most likely end up in squid face for another. This is Mooney the Pooh, who lives by the words, "Why be you when you can be blue?" In Mooney's world, red is merely another shade of blue, and risky dice are just another way to shove Astrea's purity in the eldritch faces of corruption. This is Hilarious. He's a shark. All brawn, no brain, the self-preservation instinct of a Goomba, and he basically turns red on command like most sharks do. There might have been some self-harm jokes in the original script, but I figured that was out of line. Helvelius is your generic summoner class. He comes onto the stage, bashes the heads of people with his laser toys, fixes up his toys, and somehow uses the kinetic energy born from fixing things to bash even more heads. It just works. Also, he's a crocodile. Crocodiles are cool. This is a Renekton self-insert fanfiction. He's also a crocodile. Anyway, this is Astrea. If you thought this game had a lot of RNG already, Astrea thinks you're wrong. Astrea is Astrea's risk and reward system. Ramped up to hyperdrive, overdrive, hit the gas at 55, breakneck, train wreck, inner presence, genuflect. If you enjoy not knowing what the sides of your dice are, what poor unsuspecting creature your dice will hit, or just plain like not knowing shit, then play Astrea. So this is a jackal. He likes fire. His soul is on fire. He sets his enemies on fire. He sets his friends on fire. He sets himself on fire. Everything is on fire. He is the purification equivalent of napalm. He is also the corruption equivalent of napalm. He's basically walking napalm. He also set my throat on fire, which is why I sound like this. And we have this guy. I have no idea who this guy is yet, but I'll get there someday. Overall, Astrea is a wild ride of butt-clenching decision-making, dice rolls, and furry critters. It was a blast figuring out each character's strengths and weaknesses, and even the different ways they can play to their weaknesses and minimize their strengths. The whole dice thing actually makes me want to play Little Witch Romanesque again. But in the end, Astrea is a very competent addition to the roguelike genre, and is definitely something I can see myself sinking unhealthy amounts of time into, to the point of ruining my throat with all the Mountain Dew. This has been Brain. Thanks for watching.